or to be more precise, man proposes, Paramatma disposes. So how does the Paramatma dispose? What is this area called? Where he residence is? Now what's this area called?
John's, this whole area?
John's Creek. Let's say the individual desires, I want a big house in John Creek. North Atlanta. Is it North Atlanta? Not in North Atlanta. I want a fancy house, fancy car. I want which is the latest BMW, Mercedes, or whatever, Jaguar, whatever. A fancy car. This. Everyone has a wish list. So the Paramatma knows this is the desire of this individual. Then the Paramatma sees what's the karma balance for this individual. Does the karma allow him to have a fashionable house, or should he be residing in the slum? And then, based on our balance of karma, just like in a bank account, you have debits and credits. So we also have debits and credits with regards to karma. And based on that, the Paramatma sanctions, okay, he can get this wish realized. No, he can't this realize. So Krishna is in everyone's heart. Sometimes people say, is God biased towards some individuals? It looks like this man is so prosperous, the man is doing all this lafra business, cheating business, he's still living so comfortably. Why is God favoring him? So this is a complicated subject matter, but the law of karma works in a certain way where we reap the benefits of pious karma, and what is vikarma? Vikarma means activities against the laws of God. You face the opposite consequence. So Krishna is in everyone's heart. And when Krishna sees, here is someone who wants to pursue spiritual life. This person is sincere, but he just gets entangled by some causes or factor or whatever. And Krishna arranges a situation by which we can make spiritual advancement. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, those who worship me with devotion, I preserve what they have and I make up what they lack. So we may have so many shortcomings, but Krishna guarantees us that he will preserve what he has and make up what they lack. So the Supreme Lord is in everyone's heart as the Paramatma, and he is the cause of remembrance and forgetfulness and knowledge. Now yesterday we were explaining in the Raja Vidya verse what is real knowledge and different types of knowledge. So you have basically two types of knowledge. One is absolute knowledge and the other is relative knowledge. Relative knowledge can also be called mature knowledge. Knowledge that emanates from legislators, scientists, and society at large. And the nature of relative knowledge is it's always changing, and it need not be necessarily acceptable to everyone. Just like even in the United States, if the Republicans have passed some legislation, when the Democrats come to power, they try to change it. When they say, hey, this is not correct, it's correct. The Democrats say, no, we want a good health plan. The Republicans say, no, it's not this. Then the same thing happens with scientists. Some scientists, can you tell up your mobiles, please? So the same thing happens with scientists. So this is all relative knowledge. Whereas absolute knowledge comes from the Supreme Lord, and it doesn't change with the passage of time. For example, there is Bhagavad Gita. You all should be proud to know that this is without doubt the oldest book of knowledge on this planet. Nobody can challenge that. Krishna gives a history of the Bhagavad Gita in the 4th chapter. He says that this knowledge was given by me to whom? To the Sun God. Now Arjuna, the Lord's eternal companion and devotee and friend, knew that in future people may say, how did Krishna give this knowledge to the Sun God? Sun God has appeared before him. The Sun God appeared millions of years ago, and Krishna appeared only 5,000 years ago. So he said, Krishna, how do you want me to believe? If you gave this knowledge to the Sun God, when he seen it to you by birth? To which the Lord replied, that many, many times what you and I have appeared, but I can remember all my previous births, but you cannot. So the Lord explains that this knowledge was first given to Vivasana. From him the knowledge came to Manu. The word man in the English language is derived from the Sanskrit word Manu. And it was derived to Manu, the father of mankind. And from him the knowledge came to a king called King Ikshaku, who was ruling over the planet in the beginning of Treta Yuga, and whose dynasty Lord Ramchandra appeared later on. But in course of time, this knowledge was lost, and the Lord says, therefore, I'm giving this to you again. Why? Because of 2 qualifications. Arjuna was a householder. His Prabhupada often said he was not a sannyasi or a brahmachari. But he had 2 main qualifications. He was a friend and devotee of the Lord. So if you want to understand the Bhagavad Gita, then receive it through the agency of the devotee. Just like this Bhagavad Gita as it is. This has been published now by the Bhaktivedanta Book Trust in 64 international languages of the world. Only 1 week, 2 or 3 weeks ago, they published this in Vietnamese. And people all over the world are reading the Gita, finding a solution to their problems, and deriving comfort from the knowledge that is there from the Bhagavad Gita. We should make it a point to read the Gita every day for perfection. It's not difficult. Sometimes we say that we're too busy, this, that. There's a nice story in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Lord Chaitanya was traveling in southern India. He came to this temple of Sri Rangam, where there was an uneducated Brahmin who would sit next to a pillar and read and recite 18 verses of the 18 chapters of the Gita every day. Because he belonged to a neighborhood village, everyone in that area knew this Brahmin is uneducated. And when you were chanting these slokas, tears would come from his eyes, hair would stand on end, and his body would tremble. What are these the symptoms of? Shivering in cold weather. When it's very snow, very cold, you shiver. These are symptoms of pure ecstasy. And of course these days the fake sadhus, they display what you call in English crocodile tears. In other words, they'll imitate tears coming out so that people think, this is Mahabharata, tears are coming out. But this man wasn't faking symptoms, he was genuinely displaying these symptoms. So Lord Chaitanya, when he saw this, he could see that this Brahmin is displaying genuine symptoms of love of God. And this man was uneducated. He He couldn't even read all the shlokas properly. And he could not understand most of the shlokas. But his guru had ordered him, you must read 18 chapters of the Gita every day. So every day he would sit down in the Sri Rangam temple